All right, welcome everybody to this very special call. It's still aligning with success, I guess, but it's so much more than that. You know, when I started the call Aligning with Success, the whole idea behind Aligning with Success was based on a PowerPoint presentation that I was doing, my signature presentation, essentially, that I'd been doing for years. And I gave you a glimpse of that, I think, a couple of weeks ago when I went through that productivity pyramid that started with structure leads to belief, et cetera, right through to purpose, and how that actually breaks out in our business. And the idea was that success is a space and time, a place and moment in time that exists, that coexists with every moment in time, since time is an illusion. In other words, there's a version of you that already exists in the time-space continuum, in the field of possibilities. There exists a version of you that's a success. You're already a success. And we need to just simply match our frequency with that version. And then we experience that version. No different than you're watching television, and while you may be on one channel, there's still other channels playing other stories, other movies, other paradigms, other stories, whatever. If you change the channel, you see that story and the other one fades away. So those stories are happening simultaneously. Every version of you exists, and you're just simply locking into a specific version, either by choice or by chance being the sheer momentum of your current thought process, where you're at in your consciousness. And you can make a change in that channel any moment at any time and start to align with the frequency of that version of you that is already a success story in any way, shape, or form you define success. So the goal of the Aligning with Success call was to constantly bring that to your attention, constantly, because that shapes your destiny, it shapes your experience. And while I've been doing that, I think to some degree with some success, and some of you have been adopting these principles to varying degrees and experiencing these benefits for yourself, I knew going into 2021, I needed a radical shift. I needed a radical change because I was tired of coasting. And believe it or not, it doesn't matter how successful you are, you're only as successful as you see yourself. And I knew there's a version of me that's far further ahead in my experience than the one I'm currently experiencing, even though I'm very grateful for the one that I'm experiencing. I'm not saying that I'm not. I just know that that version of me exists, and that person is more excited about life, more involved in life, more expressive, has a greater impact in the world. That version of me exists, and I want to meet that version of me sooner than later. And that means stepping away from my current reality and moving into a place that is unknown and uncomfortable. So you're going to hear from me the idea. Please mute yourselves, folks. This is a protocol we need to learn how to follow when we get on these calls. Learn how to mute yourselves. And I'm sorry I have to be that direct, but I really don't want to be apologetic for what I think is the right thing. And we need to learn what are those right things, which are protocols. When you're in a public gathering, behave in a manner that's consistent with that. So getting back to the point is that version of myself has to show up when I align with it. And I made a decision that 2021 was not going to be the same as 2020. I was going to do something different, which included subjecting myself to the experience of other people who are crazily, wildly more successful than I am in network marketing in terms of the numbers on the scoreboard. We're not measuring them as a person, but as a simple result in business. And I got to hear from people who are earning, we heard from a gal who in 3 years generated 600,000 customers, 8 million a month in volume in business, doing nothing that I would be personally impressed by, but she did it. And she did it using social media, something we've all maybe been a little bit, and she wasn't that much younger than me. And so subjecting myself to situations that are maybe uncomfortable guarantees that I'm going to move into a place that I've never been. And that's what I want for me. So I thought, let's do this. I'm going to do this. And I called Ben and I said, Ben, you and I got to do something different in 2021. We are recognized as leaders in NECAN, but are we really living our best lives? Are we really maximizing our potential and living up to our own expectations of ourselves? Or have we become complacent in that? And he and I challenge each other. So we made a decision going into 2021 that it was not going to be the same as any previous year, that we were going to push the envelope. Now, how beautiful is it that NECAN is also aligning itself with a new reality, a vision of 2025, which includes embracing a much, much larger audience than the one we currently have, 10 times that audience of what we currently have, 10 million members in the active wellness community. Well, that means it's time for somebody to show up. In order for that reality to become a reality, somebody is going to have to show up. Some grouping of people are going to have to show up, and it may not be us. But if that reality is going to be created and developed in the mindset of the people at NECAN, particularly the leaders of NECAN, then the people will follow the vision. Where there is no vision, the people will perish. But where there is a vision, you will attract the people. So I know I want to be among that new tribe of people who can hang their hat and say, we did that. I was part of that. I didn't just sit back here and coast. I was actually part of the creation of that reality. And for that to happen, I needed to step into an area of uncomfortable. And I promise you this, 2021 is going to be the most uncomfortable year I've spent the last 10 years of my life. I'm going to be forcing myself to be constantly in the state of being uncomfortable. Why? Because if I'm comfortable, I'm in the familiar, and I'm not looking to be in the familiar. I want to go beyond what's familiar. And so that's a state of mind. That's a state of being. It's something that I'm going to ask Ben personally to hold me accountable to. He's going to hold my feet to the fire. I'm going to ask you guys to find whoever it is that you want to find. All right, enough about me and why I'm motivated by doing what we're doing right here. A group of us, we started a chat, are on this call right now. And like I said, we're not going to get it all done tonight. We're going to get some of the highlights, and then we're going to come back to this and maybe flush out some of these things over the next few weeks. But a group of us were in the virtual GoPro, which we knew going in, we were going to be up for some pretty amazing situations, some amazing speakers, some amazing knowledge. And man, did we get our money's worth. I paid $297. I didn't upgrade to the VIP. I didn't become super sophisticated or anything like that. My face wasn't on the screen. I wasn't in it for that. It wasn't for me to do this. It was for me to stick my head into the situation like anybody else and say, what can I take from this that I can expand what I am and who I am and what I'm being in the world? So I was just like anybody else. I participated in the breakouts, which were phenomenal. A whole new experience for me. Breakouts in these Zoom meetings were phenomenal. That was probably the best part for me. Anyway, and we're going to hear from others, but I just want you to know that what we gained from this experience for $297 was absolutely monumental. And right now, those tickets are available for 2021. You can pre-purchase them until December 20 for $97, $97 for you to be able to participate in 2021's GoPro virtual experience until December. It's GoPro2021.com. Don't waste a minute. Don't think about it. Don't question yourself. We don't have time for doubt to make its face show up in our lives anymore. Doubt is such a waste of everybody's energy and time and God-given talents. So the second you hear the voice of doubt sneak up on you, just send it away. Get thee behind me, Satan, and just send it away. Because we don't have any time for this. We need to start moving forward, marching forward, and doing it as a collective, because I think then we can have a much more exciting experience. I'd like to see 1,000 of us at the next Eric Worre event where we get our own rooms. That's my vision for the 2021 event. All right. So there's a number of you on this call. You can unmute yourselves as you see fit to step in. I asked them, please share the 3 things that you feel were just striking at you from those 3 days. And I'm telling you, I've got 10 pages of notes. I couldn't even single out the 3 most important myself. It's been hard because there's so much. but there's so much goodness here that I know already everything is different for me. So I'm going to ask any one of you to step in, step up, jump in, and tell us what were those 3 points, knowing we're going to come back to this in the weeks to come, because I really do think we should flush this out for the benefit of ourselves and others. I'd like this call to be a call that really centers around the theme, the vibe, the commitment, the decisions, the points that were created through our collective experience of GoPro, because these are all on point for radical shifts, radical change, radical results, radical duplication. So who wants to go first? Natalie, since it's 3 o'clock in the morning in France and you've been, what a commitment. I mean, we were on that call and there were people from every part of the world. It didn't matter what time of the day or night it was. There were people participating from over 180 countries around the world, over 40,000 people. So I was just really amazed at their commitment. So to you, hats off to you, Natalie. Why don't you be first up? What was the 3 most important bullets you got from this event? Wait, you're muted.
When I heard the reason why I don't do this becomes at this moment the reason why I will do it. I was totally lost. I was crying and I was saying, it's a new day. So this was a very important moment during those 3 days. The second thing I was really impacted is when 3F fail in your road of success, find people who can help, and forgive yourself. And this was really impacting for me. And then the fact that I ordered 10 tickets for the next 2021 event. I don't even know who will be with me. I don't even know who will be interested in it, but I felt that I wanted to be more during this year, and 10 people of my team, of my future team, will be with me. So we will be 10 at the next event.
Let me tell you something, Natalie, what I know for sure, I know you're going to have 10 people at that event.
Yeah, I ordered it.
So it'll be exciting to see who they are and meet them, because, you know, that it started with you making that decision. Cool. Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much. Yeah. 3 o'clock in the morning in where are you, in Paris? Are you in Paris, Natalie?
Yes, I'm in Paris. I did the record of something I wanted to say, but at the same time, I wanted to be with you and hear from you, so I couldn't sleep.
Wonderful. Wow. Well, we're so grateful that you came on. All right. Thank you. Who would like to be next? Who was on the call?
I'm going to go up only because I think I'm just going to start this whole thing, because everything there was so amazing to me. Because first of all, GoPro, I never even knew, is actually in the business of actually creating network marketing pros, period. Any business. Okay. I thought, I didn't, hey, they're selling these tickets for $10,000, $9,000 something dollars. Okay. So it's amazing what this company does. Like Mike says, I'd never do it, but that's what they do. And that's why they can offer this. So it's a self-development course for me. I just looked at it as if I were to introduce it, it's a self-development class. If you want to go to the top, or if you want to even get to the middle, you have to go to this, because it gives you a structure for yourself as a being, number one. Number two, I've always loved challenges. It didn't bring me up any higher, but it gave me so much clarity. In other words, what my steps have, where all of the areas that I need to personally develop, which is a lot of them. And the actual most important thing to me is every presentation had stories. They had something that would catch and hook and give an impression to the party, the recruit, the people that you're speaking with. I am so much of a business person, everything's been factual. that storytelling in not in every aspect of our business is something that we don't do, that I don't do for sure. Okay. So those are the real important things for me.
Before you carry on, I have to reframe what I've asked you, because I asked this on the chat, and I want to be clear that we're saying that we're doing what I asked, which was, I had to remind myself, the action steps, 3 action steps.
Okay.
Actionable items. We have opinions about everything, but what,
Okay.
and Natalie, if you want to jump back into what was an action step, what are the 3 action steps
3
that you're
commitments.
the 3
Yes,
commitments? Okay.
You ask for 3
Natalie.
commitments. Yeah. Yeah, Yoko, you want to say?
All right. My commitments are just to be able to clarify by my recruit through use of assignments and use of, I can't remember the other second thing, but that was a big area in addition to social media. Those are the 2 for sure areas that I have to really step up, and those are my steps.
Social media is a big one. That was a seismic presentation
Amazing.
on Saturday. Wow, just wow. And we'll get into some of that, what we've gained. Assignments, that was a huge one for me. And I think you did say there were 3. There were challenges, assignments, challenges was the second one. And I can't remember.
It was not challenges, it was
campaigns, that's correct. Campaigns. So, but there was challenges. I wrote that down as well.
Christian, thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, so for those of you who don't know what that means, just real quick, assignments. When we task somebody with something, then that's an assignment. And it can be a short thing. It could be just an item that gets done in a minute. It could be an item that gets done in a day or in a matter of 2 or 3 days. Let's say, for instance, a campaign, the similarity in that is a campaign. Let's say we all decide collectively today, we're all going to do this. We're going to sponsor 1 new person this week. That's the campaign. Everybody, that's the thing we're doing. And as you do it, let's check you off. Let's chime out. And we start to communicate that and convey that and promote that. So that's the example of a campaign. These are things that are very popular in Latin America, I have to add. And so I thought, wow, that's really impressive, because that turns ideas into actions, actionable items that create results. And what happens with results in our business? They get us excited, they multiply. Okay, before we go to Ben, I want to go back to Natalie. Did you have anything that you wanted to add?
Yes, my 3 commitments in actions are, first of all, I give me 1 week to write my story and to record a video to be able to share it. Second commitment, I call in the second week, the next week, all people in my team and give 1 assignment with each of people aligned with what they tell me about 2021. I don't give assignment if they are not willing something about 2021.
Wonderful. Okay.
And third, I schedule in my agenda the 2 first weeks of January off from my hospital missions, totally dedicated to my name list, invite, share, follow, and launch.
Right on. So you're going to go into a launch, which came up repeatedly in this event. Okay.
This was great. This was great.
Fantastic. Okay, Anja, if you can just, I'm going to do it. All right, Ben, you had your hand up. I can't see everybody's hands because I'm working 1 screen at a time, but go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I just wanted, before I give my 3 personal commitments, I wanted to give a little bit of context to what Mike was just saying on the assignments and campaigns, because this was a real important point that stood out for me as well. And one of the things that Eric said, and I've got this, I wrote this down, the most important question that we can ask as we're building our business and finding new partners to work with. My goal is to help you become totally independent from me. How long would you like that to take? Yeah, I loved that question. How long would you like that to take? He said, if we don't ask it, the tendency for people is to stay dependent on you for month after month, year after year. How many people do you have in your team that are dependent on you years down the road. He said, but they don't really want that necessarily. But if you ask the question, it changes it. And he said, there are three things that we need to look for in order to help, to work with them and to do that, to help them, help facilitate that independence. Are they willing? Are they coachable? And are they hungry? Those were the three things. And this is where the assignments came in. How do we know truly? He said, because if you ask someone, are you willing? Are you hungry? Are you coachable? What are they going to say? Oh, you better believe I am. Of course I am. Yes, 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 yes. He said, so everyone's going to give you the answer yes. So how do you truly differentiate and separate that out so that you know who you're spending your time with is the right people? He said, you do that by giving them assignments. That's where assignments came in. You do that by giving assignments. What I liked about this, because I'd gotten this back to front in my past experience, start big and then go small with the assignments. Give them big tasks first and then get smaller. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give you a 10 assignment. And if that's too much, then maybe I'll give you an 8 or a 9. And if that's too much, then maybe a 6 or a 7 until they find their space. He says, and wherever they are on that scale of 1 to 10 is fine. Yeah, it's not for us to demand where they should be. Let them find their own place, but we help them find that by giving them assignments. But I liked that point of starting out with big assignments first. Yeah.
And just before you go ahead on that, man, because like so many bells were going off. This event reminded me of who I used to be, how I used to operate. Where did this come from? Where did the notion of this come from? This 90-day campaign, this 90-day launch strategy, this 10 out of 10. It was just that. It was the assignment to launch somebody. The word was actually launch. It's built into this thing. It's a launch strategy. And this is where I think if we don't have structure, if we don't have a system, and if we don't have protocols that we're following, basically a system, then that's where things just become mediocre. Yeah. Conversations become conversations and endless, but there's no tasks, there's no assignments, there's no measurable challenges that we can say, where do we need to improve or so forth. It just becomes a museum of people getting together and enjoying their company rather than building toward. I tell you something, we can enjoy each other's company with a check 10 times bigger than the one we got. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
hello. So let's just do that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I like I said, I wanted to give context to this word assignment because to me that jumped out of the screen at me. You know, I've always been one that has driven that attention on, if you want to really show that you're serious, we flesh it out. We know who they are by giving, inviting people to make and keep commitments. And I thought that was really good. So I don't want to go through all of my notes and distract from the question that you asked. It's so tempting to do that though, because it was a great event. But my three things was one, the first one was go faster. Eric Worre said, I was writing things down. I'm not sure about the others that attended. I wrote things down that were being said, and I wrote things down that I was feeling. And I think I've always encouraged people to do that, yeah, because sometimes we get inspiration that comes to us personally that isn't necessarily articulated in the words on the stage.
I call them NTS, note to self. I've got my NTSs on the page.
Yeah, and I always think it's important to do that. And I'd encourage you, as we're going throughout tonight's call, to do the same thing. You know, there might be some good notes to take, but there might be some impressions that you feel that you want to make a note of. And that's important because to me, those are often the best pieces right there. But yeah, go faster. Eric Worre said, in order to go faster, he said, you have to do three things. Model successful people. And I would say, as we look to model, we don't keep a narrow scope, yeah? But look far and wide. We saw plenty of examples of hyper successful people that were in that event over the course of the weekend. And I think there is nothing wrong with seeing some of these guys and connecting on social media, following them, hearing their messages, learning from them, and integrating that, bringing it back. into our own space. It's healthy to do. So I think it's important that we feel comfortable enough. I'm going to do that, to not just look within Nikan, but also look without at where the successful people are for me to model and emulate. The other thing he said was to find a mentor that has achieved what you want or is a world-class leader or trainer. But he also said to know what the role of a mentor is. A mentor isn't someone that comes and has to, live in your house for 2 weeks and get up in the morning and kick you out the door and get you going and get your backside into gear and do all that kind of stuff. He said, we shouldn't need that from a mentor. That's our job. He said he had plenty of mentors that he's never met. People that had written books, that, had done podcasts, that he had been inspired by and followed their examples and learned from a distance. So understand the role of a mentor and integrate them into your life. And the third one that he said was get a coach. And the reason that this one really struck me quite hard was Eric Worre said he and his wife get a coach for everything. And I love that. He's a super successful man. To me, he is the master marketer. Yeah, he's a great presenter. He knows his trade. He knows our business really well. He's got the experience, but from a marketing perspective, a leadership perspective, he is a genius. But in spite of all of that, he still goes out and gets coaches to speed up and to accelerate his performance. And look at all the great people that do great things. They have coaches. Yeah. So I think we need to recognize this might be something to invest in. So for me, my first one was go faster. That's my definition of go faster, is those three things. Learn to give meaningful assignments and create those campaigns that Mike was talking about before. Short, sharp bursts, no longer than a month. I like that. I looked at some of our past performance where we've had different activities that we've made annual, and it turned out to be pretty tough for people, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a lesson learned. No longer
Success,
than a month.
love, speed was one of those points that kept coming up.
Yeah. And then the third thing was to create simple systems. And he said systems that work help people say, this looks simple, I think it will work, and I think I can do that. And if people can't say those three things, we've got the wrong system. So as I look to the duplication that I want to really develop in my business next year, I've got to go faster, get those coaches, learn to give the big assignments and challenge people, have the focused, actionable campaigns, and then create systems of activity that look simple, that help people believe they can do it, and then help them go out there and actually get it done.
Fantastic. Wow. All of these points, I was interested, Ben, when I was in those breakout sessions, I was always the oddball because 29 years in network marketing and some of these people are just brand spanking new. And so I would always be the last one finding myself to talk because it was like, let them say what they have to say. And then let me see where I might be able to, fit into this conversation. And it was just, I was curious as to what that might be from your point of view, if you felt the same way.
Oh, I did. Yeah, it was really interesting. I did the same thing. And out of courtesy, I stepped back and let others speak first. And then there was often a little bit of a shock factor when you'd come in with your different perspectives. There's a lot of people, and I'm not sure if you picked up on this, but right at the very end of the event, Eric ended up having to do a bit of one-on-one live coaching with someone. What's your goal for next year? How many tickets have you bought? 30. What's your goal for your income goal? 10,000 a month. How many people are in your team right now? 0. Okay, you got a big stretch. How many people do you think you'll need in your team to get to 10,000 a month? About 100. Whoa, let's stop right there. You're going to have to redefine that goal. Yeah, there's a lot of people that don't know what it takes to get the job done. Yeah, and so that really struck me quite a bit. Is we've got perspective. The good thing is here in this environment with Nikan, we know what it takes. We know what it takes. And if we don't, we've got to get that research done as we build our goals. Do the research to make sure that the activity you're committing to is aligned with the outcomes that you want. You've got to have that alignment with those two things.
Okay, so thank you, Ben. I, by the way, want to just insert an assignment. I have an assignment for everybody on this call. If you don't know what this document is, find out. I circulated a document last week that has your score, basically your evaluation of where you are at personally, your personal success story in the areas of your 5 pillars of health and where your beliefs are. Essentially, where do your beliefs stand at this time in the various categories? Note there were 3 categories on self. Belief in yourself as an apprentice, in yourself as a coach, in yourself as a mentor. Identifying those 3 hats that we wear or we need assistance on. So again, it's a common language in a business approach to our industry, that maybe these are not words that we've been using in the past, but where there's even a question that came up on the chat here. I don't understand the difference between a coach and a mentor. See, obviously we need to have that information and know how to apply that if we're going to get higher levels of productivity and performance from ourselves. So we will touch on this. Next person.
Mike, it's Paul Gavias.
Hey, Paul.
Hey, the energy, I wanted energy. A lot of the stuff that was said I'd heard before many, many times, but the energy was amazing with the 40,000 people. But at the beginning, he asked, okay, what's your income and what would you like it to be? And so I put 750 a month. And I said, I'd like it to be 10,000 a month. And then he said, okay, well, now double it. Wow, okay. And then I'm gold. Obviously, I need to get to platinum, diamond, royal diamond. But he had us, if we advanced one goal in our head, one rank, then he said, well, double it. And then something else that they kept saying over and over again, you're not supposed to worry about the how necessarily. They kept stressing the why. That's going to be really the driving force. And so I think of these goals more and more as I spend time in Weekend. They're not there to impress other people, because other people can say, oh, you're Royal Diamond. Oh, that's nice. But whatever, they can minimize anything they want. It's really for me. It's not for anybody else, and it's for my organization, but mostly the why has to be for me. So those are the thoughts that I had coming out of this, and it was the energy that I wanted. It wasn't.
So Paul, in terms of actions, how does that translate into what are the actions you're going to take?
Well, that translates into consistent reaching out to people in terms of things that I have going on. It's going to have to be, 2 people consistently a day. And of course, what's going to happen with these people is going to be dependent on what they want, of course, but there has to be more seeds in the popper before all of this is going to happen. So there has to be lots of new blood. Though that's what I can think of to begin with, Mike.
Fantastic. All right. Well, that's a big thing. And I think one of the things that I want to piggyback on that as one of my key points that kept coming up over and over and over was tell your story. Tell your story, tell your story, tell your story. What is your story? Can you tell your story? Is there a beginning, a middle, and a pivoting point, and then an after? Do you know the emotional, you take people through it through an emotional level? That was such a huge thing. Tell your story, 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 tell your story. Keep telling your story. So this work that we can do with John Livesley is critical, I think, to develop and harness your ability to tell your story 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds. So that in a minute or two, you have somebody wanting to know where do they fit into this and wanting to have a further conversation. If you're not telling your story, and if you don't even know how to tell your story without making it a completely long-winded history of your entire life, which is not how you tell your story, That is one of the most important things that I think, Paul, will help you tell more people, because you'll have a story to tell. You'll know exactly how to tell that story in a very interesting and compelling way. By the way, the point that was asked just on the chat here was, where do I get that document? It's in the tools chat. If you're not in the tools chat, then you're not in the WhatsApp groups. If you're not in the WhatsApp groups, you're not plugged in. So plug in, get into the WhatsApp groups, ask your sponsor, your upline, your active diamond or royal diamond, what are they talking about? What WhatsApp groups should I be in? What's WhatsApp? Look it up. If you can read, if you can speak English, you can type it into Google and it'll tell you what you need to know. Next point, next person. Thanks, Paul.
You're
I'll
welcome.
take a turn, Mike.
Go ahead.
What Ben was talking about, you'll see on my page here. It was about being independent, you know, teaching a person to be independent and how long they want to take to get there. As soon as he said that, I highlighted it in my notes. I've got 68 pages of notes. Did a lot of writing. When they were talking about stories, the point that Pat Quinn kept making, because he was addressing the stories, an ordinary story is far better than an extraordinary story.
Great point.
And I stayed up until 1 o'clock Sunday morning to listen to the 10 finalists telling their stories, because Pat Quinn and Steve Mulder critiqued each one of them, and they all had to be under 3 minutes. And they said the best story is to be to the point, ordinary, and under 3 minutes. And it's got to relate to the person that you're telling it to. So I'm finessing my story. Our decision is what shapes our destiny. And today I completely rearranged my schedule. I clawed back time that I have been spending doing something else. I put people in place to cover those hours that I was doing. I've made a new connection already today, and I've given out 4 assignments that have to be back to me in a week. And those assignments were talking to team members. Why are they in NECAN? I want a specific reason. Do they have a passionate purpose? What's the ultimate purpose to be in NECAN? How much a month would they like to be earning at the end of this coming year? And I asked each one of them, told them I expected each of them to purchase a GoPro ticket for next year before December 20th, and also told them the benefit of having extra tickets to use as incentive for the new teams that they'll be creating.
Now, let me just pause for a second. That's an assignment. So what you're doing right now is you're sending an assignment out to your members to identify who is willing, coachable, and hungry.
And hungry. Yes, exactly. I thought, why wait? Let's get started.
Excellent.
So I did. And I thought the other, one of the other things that was said, the stories, start with the head, go to the heart, and then to the hands, which is your CTA, your call to action.
Call to action. By the way, write this one down. The call to action is the close. The call to action is the close. Do you have a call to action? That's a very important thing to ask yourself. What's your call to action? You don't start until you know what your call to action is, because that's where you're driving that conversation.
And a lot of people lose the prospect because they don't have a call to action and they don't follow up. How many stories did we hear where one person didn't follow up, somebody else did follow up, and as the one gal said, I bet she regrets having quit shortly after introducing me to the opportunity, because now she's making millions a month. And what surprised me was none of them, when they started, had the dollar signs in their eyes of millions per month. But they were passionate about their purpose And that's what got them to their high income. And they're all, now that they've got their personal needs attended to, they're all giving back to society, to their passion that is their purpose.
Wonderful. Great point. So again, the idea of vision, how big was their vision? Most of the stories that we heard, these people were hungry. Their stories, their upbringings, their situations before they encountered their company was dismal. So they had a real need. So think about that. I would rather have one person with a real need who's really hungry than 10 who don't need this. They may have all the wherewithal to make this happen, but they don't have the hunger. So they're not going to do much. But one person who has nothing but has the hunger, they could move a mountain. They could actually build something huge here. So that was something that was very important as well. Thank you. Next person. Please mute yourself
Hey,
if you're not
Mike,
speaking.
I'll
Go ahead.
go. Hey, Mike, a couple of mine that I had circled, we've talked about, but I want to touch on them anyway, because in my 50-some pages of notes, I don't want to flip through here tonight because I have so many taskers that you got to narrow it down. Pat Quinn, awesome. I loved it before, pivot, and now, or before, pivot, and after. That story, I realized, well, my story is a mess. So that is a big thing that I need to work on. And it was really impactful when he said, think about it, I have a story to tell, and that story will change lives. And everybody on here is in that position, and recognizing that, that's huge. Just driving on that. The other one for me is a takeaway, and I have to is fit. Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I could spell TikTok and that's it. So, obviously, in terms of accelerating and duplicating and looking at it, social media is just part of where we're at today. And you can either embrace it or miss that boat. And so I'm going to be a lot smarter about social media. I've got tons of pages and I'm going to make it happen. And to follow up a little bit what Barbara said, this didn't wait till 2021 to get started. It's start now. And so I'm looking at our business plan for 2021, but part of that business plan is going to entail get a coach. And I know Ben touched on that, but when Eric and everything I'm seeing and he's talking about, and this massive home run and this production, he said we get a coach for this, the coach that if that guy needs a coach, I don't know what coach I need, but I don't know if it's got to be somebody pretty outstanding, I think. So get a coach, make it happen, and so and I loved last thing, and it's not a tasker, but Sylvester Stallone.
Oh yeah.
He really got cranked up as he went on, but I liked it when he said, just get started. And he said, it doesn't have to be perfect, just get it done. After you're done, go back and fix it.
Right.
And I like that. So, we all wait. I have to have the perfect business plan. I got to be perfect at social media before I start. I just thought I'd jump out, and if I screw it up, I'll go back and fix it. At least I started, and then I'm learning. But if I wait till I'm perfect, a year from now, we'll still be talking about that I'm going to do that, and I haven't done squat. So there you are.
Fantastic. Thank you. By the way, I loved Sylvester Stallone. He was the one that I didn't take a lot of notes from, but I got so much from. And that was one of those things, the uncomfortable, constantly pushing forward with a daily commitment to the daily activities. That was the unquenchable desire that he had to succeed, that he just kept going. He says, it doesn't have to be perfect. We can fix it later. And I think that's an important statement. So many of you are so well versed in this, and you keep telling yourself there's more you need to learn. Bullshit. There's nothing else to learn. Get out there and start making it happen. And you heard me, yeah, I did use that word, didn't I? Because I heard a lot of those guys on stage who were well-to-do speakers do the same thing, and they sort of cut the rug a little bit. And I like that. I like the fact that they were able to say what they felt. We need to get on with it. And you can take some action, fix it later, but you know, you're going to get a lot more out of your business and a lot more mileage out of your Nikken opportunity if you just take some actions. And if you've got the coach will know where those actions need to be modified. At least you have something to measure. We can correct something if we know where it's off course, but when we got no results, there's nothing to correct. Actions speak louder than words. One other
Those
little
guys
point on
were
social
authentic.
media.
Those guys were authentic.
Yes, they were definitely authentic. One last point on, you know, and I was giving my daughter heck for swearing on one of her videos. Anyways, one of the points on social media, again, one of these things that were just like, boom. I found out 2 days ago on Saturday, the day that they were doing social media, that it turns out my son, Michael, the youngest, happens to know how to play these video games to the point where he cracked a code on the highest level of some game and did a TikTok video, which, by the way, Ron, I couldn't spell correctly. I spelled it with a CK, but it's not that way. It's anyway. So my son does this little TikTok video, 60,000 followers in 2 days. I'm in Nikken and I don't have that many in my organization. That's unbelievable. That tells you that the game has changed. And you might ask yourself, you know, are the people that we're looking for there? Well, I don't know. One gal happened to find 600,000 customers in 3 years and is doing 8 million a month. And she found them there. So I guess there are some people there. We need to open up the possibility that the game has shifted to another place. We got to go where the people are and we got to figure out how to talk to them. And guess what? It wasn't rocket science. I watched one of these girls go live on Sunday in the break. I just wanted to see what she does. And she just has a conversation. She's talking about this and that. And some people were asking questions on the chat she was reading and she had the answer. Boom, boom, boom. This is what I do. This is what I did. Hit the click in the tree up in my bio. Boom. It was like, wow, these guys are prepped. They're prepared for business. And I just thought, I'm not even in that position. And I'm me. I got to get way better at this. Imagine what I could be if I was much better at this. Next person. Who's up?
I think I would like to be up next.
Go ahead, Mary.
At the end of Sunday, we're closing off. Eric had us close our eyes and then he went through all the exercises. And then at the very end, he talked about, you know, what's going to happen tomorrow. And then, you know, we're going to be busy and, you know, so he described all of my seminars before. What I was fired up and then, you know, my family got in the way, my whatever. And so I made a decision last night after that I wasn't going to do that anymore. So what I did is my action steps are for December. I've just done them for December now. So I'm rewriting my story because I started working on my story already. And as Ron said, I wrote down, I have a story to tell that changes lives and it's going to be done in 3 minutes. And so in that, I'm going to be focused on the Nikken opportunity in my story. So how it is relatable to today. Then the second point is I'm going to be working on my presentation and my package. My story is going to be so powerful that people will relate to it and say, me too. And I'm going to make videos for the 3 groups, the baby boomers, Gen X, and millennials. And I'm going to make this video and I'm going to improve on it 1%. They talked about 1% improvement for every time. And I'm going to do 20 videos, practice videos for each group. And the third thing I'm going to do in December is I'm going to start posting on Instagram. I have an account and I think I've posted it 3 times. So I'm going to do regular posts. I'm going to start with 3 a week and then I'm going to improve it by 1%. And so those are my 3 actions for
Awesome.
December.
Thank you, Mary. Awesome. By the way, just an FYI on the videos. One of the things that spoke to me about the social media application was videos were not videos that were prepackaged. These people do live. They have they create shortcuts. So learn how to do a shortcut. I know there's such a thing, but I've never really used shortcuts on my phone. Shortcuts that allow them to quickly get into a social media platform on Facebook Live, for instance, or TikTok. They have the means, like they could literally in the middle of a conversation with you and me right now, they could just go boom, 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 boom. And now, hey, I'm live with Mike DiMuccio here. They would be instantly live and doing a quick live. And it was short, punchy, but that's the kind of live, and with regularity starts to create an audience that starts to follow you. And then you build that audience. You know, one of the social media things that I picked up on was you first create an audience. By the way, there's a fellow who I got a lot from, one gal, Charlene Johnson. You can connect with her at Charlene Johnson on Instagram and follow her. That's what the person I'm talking about that I was watching.
It's Shailene, not Charlene.
Oh, excuse me, Shailene, no R, thank you. Shailene, Schalene Johnson, Johnsson. Again, you know, it's easier to follow somebody who's successful at it. I'm not intimidated by them, and I'm encouraged by the fact that they're succeeding. I think I have the best network marketing business in the world that really aligns with who I am. I just need to learn how to use these tools to be more effective at telling my story and getting the message out. And these guys are doing it very, very successfully. Where was that point that I was looking for? The other fellow who was an English fellow, I think he was, or an Australian, Fraser
Mike,
Brooks.
I want to say something too before it gets to the end of the hour, and I'm just
We're going to go a little bit longer than the hour.
Oh, good, because I'm so excited because right now there's an eclipse, and I know you're talking about energy, vibration, and different things going on, but right now, and I know people know about the new moon, and if you write what you want to have or declare what you want in your future, it will be amplified for that quarter. Well, right now with the eclipse, the solar eclipse, it's going to be for the first time ever 25,000 times amplified if you write it and say it tonight. Declare it, write it, say it tonight. And I'm just so freaking excited. I can't tell you. Between Ben, you doing HBM and the virtues, and that was just awesome. And we didn't even get through all of them. I think we did 3, 2.5, something. But that and Mike, you talking about measuring yourself, and what stops you and where are you going. I talked to a gentleman tonight that I've known for a year, and I apologized to him. He bought a HEPA system last month, and it was when we didn't have any. And I called him tonight and I just apologized. And I said, you know, I really did you a disservice, but I want to invite you to go through this process with me, these steps, and just get educated on what I do. And there's a choice. You can choose to, you know, get some things or not, but I want you to be informed, to make an educational thing. Of course, I'd love to do that, you know, and then the invitation to look at business or referrals, you know, I just laid it all out. And it's just amazing. So I have 2. I have an appointment tomorrow, and I have him coming on the Wellness Home Zoom tomorrow with Barb Satterwhite. So I'm just excited. And I think that Luis Castuga was a breath of fresh air with how to earn money and how to get the bottom, to have the momentum started at the bottom. And I don't want to say.
Which, by the way, today's meeting at 1 o'clock Eastern was about. So we're going to get that information via PDF, I think today or tomorrow, to share with what is the pricing strategy. It's a strategy. It's not a price increase. It's a price strategy, which enables all kinds of tools to be utilized now that we can leverage for the new person to put money in their pocket right up front. Again, part of the strategy going into 2021 is help the newest people make money right away. Then it feeds itself.
Well, and the
Um,
strategy of the 19.99 and then the $79 to re-up, that's a strategy. To get
Barb, I know that,
people-
but I want to stay to the focus of tonight's
I'm
call,
sorry.
which is
Okay,
the attendees from the event.
I
Okay,
wanted
so
to let everybody know about the energy and to write it.
I think
tonight.
it's important. So write it down, set your intention in writing tonight. These, by the way, I'm completely on side, Barbara. I've studied astronomy, I've studied astrology, and I understand this goes back to the Vedic scriptures. So if you don't know this, this is science. Most of our religious experiences, knowledge comes from, its origins are, nothing in the universe is by chance. Everything is interconnected, and therefore everything affects everything. Let me just say this. So what he was talking about, once you get your following, you convert your following into prospects, you convert your prospects into customers or distributors, and then you use social media to lead your team as well. So let's be the company that embraces this. Don't wait till next year. Don't wait even till next month. Do it now. Like, start now. I guess next year and next month is one and the same, but start now. I'm personally, by the way, Ron, I'm with you. I think I need a coach, a social media coach. In fact, I forget what they call a publicist, something along the lines of what actors and actresses have. They have people help them with their social media presence. I'm getting one for me because you know what? I need that. I need to know what I need to know, or I'm going to be ineffective. And I think it doesn't have to be expensive. It might even be my son, for crying out loud. If he can put 60,000 followers in 2 days.
The urgency that I created, the aha I had was, oh, we're going to have a price increase. I said, I've got to get this out to you and let you know about this before the price increase. Now, we know it's going to include shipping and we know it's all this stuff, but they don't know that. So it's a game I'm playing with myself that I have a price increase come December 31st. And I got 2 appointments set up for tomorrow just by coming up to my office at right before this hour. So I just want people to play the game.
All right. Let's get back to who else was in attendance at the event and has your 3 action steps.
I'd like to leave everybody with a thought, Mike. By the way.
Hang on, Barb, hang on. We've got other people, so let's wait up for who else was at the event that'd like to step in here.
Cheryl, I can, if you want, Mike.
Yes, please. I want everybody who was there to say.
I mean, everything was fabulous and everything everyone has said is, it's, oh yeah, all the stuff that was coming back to me. But just the 3 things quickly for me is the story thing for sure, because the one thing with the story that really jumped out to me was when Pat Quinn said about it's okay to have an ordinary story, because I don't have a dramatic, like something, really, really big. So that's always kind of set me back because I felt like I didn't have anything to say. But then when he said the ordinary is okay, that really made me like, then I do have something to say. And then getting a crystal clear plan written in place, and the social media side and time, getting my time management set aside.
Okay, so these are actions that you're taking?
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right.
Those are my first things to get in order.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. Next. Who else was in the attendance at GoPro? Bo, I seen you're on the line. Bo. Hey, Doug Nettership, could you please mute yourself? Bo, go ahead.
I was doing several Zoom calls, so I was just eating while you guys were talking. Sorry. It was an amazing event. I had been to a few of his before over the last decade, and as you all know, it's fantastic. The most organized, the most professional, and he covers the basics from attitude to fine details. Like you, I have to get a social media coach, because that's certainly the future and the way to go. I was thinking of relaunching my business with VHS tapes and audio cassettes. Then I had a second thought that maybe it wasn't the best idea. It worked once. It worked once, but it probably wouldn't work again, or wouldn't duplicate. I'm still formulating my steps. The last few days have been kind of hectic around here. So I've got my tickets. I've got 10 tickets. I may get another 10 before December the 20th. And I encourage everyone to get a whole bunch.
You know, the price is just going to go up. It's certainly not going to come down.
Exactly.
So,
They
and
said
by
it's
the way,
gonna be
what's
at
nice
least
about having a
500.
ticket, what's nice about having a ticket for somebody else is that it's something you can offer them as part of your, enrollment process. Now, think about it. If somebody's already enrolled now for an event that's going to happen a year from now, what do you think their level of intent and commitment is going to be? You know what I'm saying? And there's going to be video clips, things like that. In fact, if you go to my Facebook page right now, you will see the video clip that I shared, 2 of them. One was the behind the stage from Eric's wife, Marina, which is so powerful. I mean, it's unbelievable, like what they built, this $20 million soundstage. And then the second one, which was his closing, his 18-minute closing, which is super, super powerful, that Mary was referring to. Just go and watch that, and you'll say, how did I miss this? I'm not going to miss this, and I'm not going to have my team miss this, because it's the most powerful event that we have as a network marketing industry. It's an industry event. It's the industry event, clearly, of all events. And to be able to demonstrate how advanced it is, like a lot of companies are trying to figure out what to do right now. We're already way past that. We're in the action mode. And that's what's so beautiful about being able to showcase how our industry is always ahead of the curve. It is, I think we're about to see an absolute a huge shift in people attending, joining our industry. I think this is going to become a free-for-all. So you don't want to be sitting there, stitching with, I don't know what, you need to cast a net. You don't want to be putting just a hook in the water. You want a net in the water, because the fish are coming. And just to have one fish, one hook in the water is just really doing yourself a disservice. Okay, who else was there? Bo, did you finish up? No.
Just wanted to say that also we can use those tickets as either an incentive or a reward for a job done, or you reach this level and I've got a ticket for you for the next GoPro event. There's many ways we can use those.
Great point.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Bo. And by the way, bringing up tools. One of the things that he mentioned was tools. That's part of the system. There's Zoom, there's websites, there's sizzle calls, there's videos, brochures. Your upline is your tools, product, webinar, blogs, podcasts, Facebook group, books. These are all tools. The key to tools, why tools, is not only third-party credibility, leverage, it's scalability. That was a word that is often used as well. Scale, what does that mean? It means being able to multiply, expand what you're doing without having to go crazy yourself. Our business allows scalability. It allows you to multiply yourself through the efforts of others. So tools are an important mechanism to scale. So what he said was you combine an assignment with a tool. So for instance, this is Bo, you and I, you started chatting on the group chat during this segment. He says, that's what we did. That's what we did. He said one of the things that he would do immediately is he would get a box of like 100 cassettes. This is back in the day with the cassettes. And he'd get everybody who joined his team to buy 100 cassettes. And the goal was to get those 100 cassettes into people's hands in a week. Wow. So there's the tool. There's the assignment. Now, what do you think happens as a consequence? Something is going to happen. Is it perfect?
Mike,
no.
When you launched Canada, what did you do?
We went through 3,000 videos in 30 days. Not just me, the group of us. But we were literally moving 100 at a time in a box. You'd come, you'd go to a meeting, you'd pick up 100 videos, and then you would get them out. The goal was to get them out. We went through I know because I was producing them, we went through 3,000 videos in 30 days. Guess what the size of the organization was at the end of the first month? 300 people. Is there a correlation? Of course there is.
Absolutely.
So massive action. Next person. We're a little bit over time. I just want to make sure we get everybody who's on, who's been on, who was at the event, has a chance to say something.
I don't know if you can hear me or not.
Yes, we can. Gary.
Yes. Yeah, I was at the event, and it was extremely awesome. I got like 34 pages of notes that I'm going through. Yeah, a lot to do. One of my main focuses is that what I've been wanting to do before is to go more into the social media. I'm on multiple different platforms. I'm also I don't just have Facebook. I'm also on Parler. I'm on Twitter. I'm on MeWe. I'm on Minds. I'm on Spreely. I'm on different platforms producing. Now it's just a matter of producing some content and engaging people. That's kind of what my intent is to engage, is start to engage people and go forward. The other thing is that when he talked about consistency and going big, as well as just going out and doing it, like the one of the things when Sylvester Stallone was talking about when he said just go out and do it, just make it happen, just finish it, and then you can do change things later. So that was one of the things that kind of stuck with me, and the reason why it did is because I'm an analytical person. I want to know everything before I do anything. I want to dissect everything and know as much as I can. But he said it's not going to be perfect. Just get out and do it. And that was one of the things that I took away from it. But there was just so much there. Especially Dean Graziosi, when he spoke, was one of my favorites. When he was talking about confidence, and when he was talking about the hook, getting the hook. Says you gotta get the hook. Once you get the hook, then you go for the close. Because the one thing that I took away, because when he did that whole thing with who was that guy? He did that infomercial, and he put it out there, and it bombed. It completely bombed. And then what he did is he brought the guy back. Larry King, that's it. Larry King. He brought that guy, and then he brought Larry King back, and he just changed one word. He just changed the first phrase and got that hook. And then it went out and produced lots. He says, you got to get the hook. He says, and that really stuck with me. He says, you got to get into the mind of your prospect, and you got to be able to communicate with a conversation that they are already having in their mind.
Can you give us just an example, because this is such an important point?
One of the examples, I'm trying to think of one of the examples that they were talking about is that, like for instance, a lot of people they're already because of these lockdowns. Everybody's locked in the house. They can't do it. He says, when he went in and he just started engaging a person, like Dean Graziosi was saying, you're engaging into the conversation of what people are already thinking, like, oh, well, business must be really tough for you, or something like that. Business must be tough. It's tough for me too. And you're building a bridge between you and the individual by entering into their conversation. And by entering into their conversation, you're able to introduce that pivot or something new. And by engaging that and engaging in that type of conversation, you're able to go for hook, the pivot, and then what he said, like the close.
Let me give you a contrast, an extreme. You wouldn't go to a person and say, how your business sucks right now? That's not exactly the approach.
Exactly. But yes, I know you don't do that. He said, yeah, and he brought that up too. He says, you don't say that your business. Yeah, I remember that part. He says, you don't say that your business sucks. He says, yeah, things have been tough for me, and the economy's been tough, and things like that. and then you engage them, and once they say, yeah, it's up for me too, and I say, you know something, I've been doing something else, and then come in and get the hook and go into the conversation with them to bring them in that direction. So yeah, that was one of the key points that I took away, was you got to get into almost like the mindset of the person that you're talking into, with the direction that things, that the economy is, the way the world is, and stuff like that. If you can enter into the conversation that they're already having in their head, then you're already building that bridge and getting that quick hook. Because when you walk up to someone and you say, "Hi, my name is," like you said, "Hi, my name is Owen. You want to join my downline?" So you don't do that. You don't do that. You want to engage them. You want to build trust with your prospects and stuff like that. And he says you want to do it quicker. And what DSU was talked about is that by entering into the conversation that they're already having in their head, you can quickly, bridge that gap and make them into a friend, make them into that, and get them to trust you. Because trust is one of the key things that you need to have before you can, move forward.
Now,
So
imagine if you did a Facebook Live or any of those things, and you started a conversation with the audience on the other end, knowing that they're somewhere in, you imagine a person and you start having a conversation with that person you're imagining. In other words, imagine the perfect prospect, whether it's a prospect for your product or a prospect for your business. Pick one. You can't have both sides going at the same time. Pick one. Always singularity. Singularity of purpose is really key here. Pick a person on the other end that you're thinking about talking to, and start a conversation on social media live. And it could be, it's been a really tough year. A lot of my friends are having a tough time. Some of my friends, their restaurants are closing. Others I know that are cooped up in the house. Myself, my family, it's been very stressful. You start a conversation like that, people are watching, they can relate, and then the pivot. Try it.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, Gary, you got a lot of great things to say, and I want to be able to hear you much better. So can I make a recommendation? This is a microphone that cost me like $150. It's called Blue. It's fantastic. It'll make your sound quality so much better.
Mike, I have a quick
Right.
question. Everybody's talking about Sylvester Stallone. Is this the actor?
Yes. Sly Stallone
Okay,
was
thank you.
one of the keynote speakers.
Yeah.
And I just loved him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
He's awesome.
I wanted to throw a few more things here about duplication, because that was such an important part. That he carved up the 3 days into segments, and one of the segments has to do with the idea of growing an organization, duplication, because that's the key to scale, being able to duplicate. And he said there's three things. By the way, I like what Ben said, and I really want to echo this. Believe much bigger, much sooner. This was advice that he would have given to himself. Believe much bigger, much sooner. Think about it. Why did he say double it and then double it again? And then I remember the comment. I forget what somebody said. Well, listen, if you're going for, I think it was, let's say it was 8,000 a month, and he said double it, 16, double it again, 32,000. Hey, listen, if you're stretching to get to 32,000, 8,000 is not going to be so difficult now. Think. What a brilliant idea. You see, if you're going for Royal Diamond, going silver is just like, pfft. You get it? Think bigger, believe in much bigger, much sooner. And I think we're doing everybody a disservice when we do that. When we say, hey, you got a 3-month runway to get to silver. Come on. That never helped us. That never helped create momentum in our business. Momentum is speed. Create whatever you can in the shortest span of time possible. All out massive action means don't take 3 months, take 3 minutes. Whatever you can do in a month, you can do in a day. And that's what everybody who's ever looked back on their success would tell themselves. Do it quicker, do it sooner. All right, 3 keys to radical duplication. 1, clarity. Get clear on your activity. If you're not sure what the activities are, the process, the pipeline, Go Pro. There's a good book to start. 7 steps. These are the 7 steps that you need to master to become a pro in network marketing. Here, Eric Worre, Go Pro. Here's a plug for his book. Go Pro, simple idea, 7 steps. If you don't know what you're doing, you're not going to do much of it. But if you know exactly what you're doing, what the steps are, get clear, then you know what to do. Now you just got to get the people in the process, in the pipeline. How do you do that? Enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is a word that means the spirit within us is expressing itself through us. Well, where does the enthusiasm come from? Getting clear on what it is that you're creating, what it is that you're doing. What is it that the byproduct of what you're going to create is a wonderful business for yourself, for your family, freedom. It's going to be an incredible impact and influence on the lives of others because you know in every means possible, every tangible way possible, Nikken makes a difference. If you're affecting somebody's health, you're affecting everything about their life. So enthusiasm, that's a key component. If you're not enthusiastic, then you're not going to attract much attention to yourself and nobody's going to want to follow somebody who's not enthusiastic. And lastly, and this is the one that is my big takeaway. Anybody, any of you who knew me then, probably still would argue to some degree, still today's true. Intensity. Man, when I was going after something, was I intense? When I'm on purpose, when I'm on point, nothing can stop me. I'm so intense because I'm intensely focused on what I'm doing. I'm all there. I'm all in. I'm all there. I'm fully present. And people get the sense of that energy. If you don't have that, you're not going to create a huge following. Radical duplication is the name of these 3 points. Radical duplication. How do you create radical duplication? That means a lot of things soon, quickly. It's going to be comprised of clarity. You know what you're doing. You've got tons of enthusiasm to do it, and you're laser focused and intense. They sense the intensity in you. People want to follow people who are going someplace. My mentor, Bob Proctor, would always say, the world has a way of making room for somebody who knows where they want to go. And I thought, and he would say this in the conferences all the time, he says, try this. Go in a crowded train station or whatever and start walking to the other side like you know where you're going with intensity. And just watch how it'll be like Moses parts the sea. So I tried it. I actually tried it. Several times I've tried that just to see, does it really work? And it totally works. It's like there's an intention 15 feet out in front of me telling people, look out, he's coming. It's really, it's important. And it's important that if we're going into 2021, we cannot go into 2021 with the same level of clarity, enthusiasm, and intensity we came into 2020 with. For things to change, we must change. One other thing I have on the duplication I think is critical as well. Here, when you get somebody sponsored, plug them in, get them paid out, get them promoted, and get them praised. The 4 Ps.
Promoted and praised.
You know, get them plugged in, meaning what? Plugged into what's going on, plugged into the activities, the schedule of events, the Nikken Connect, get them plugged into my Nikken, just get them plugged into the hub. 2, get them paid out. Again, with this new incentive on the table, that really helps. This new idea of our pricing strategy is going to help them generate some income quickly so that they get a return on their investment. 3, get them promoted. The incentives, again, the new incentives are the same as the old incentives. They are by design to create action steps that produce results. The results are promotions. Number 4, make sure they get praised. Everything is a win, praise it. Every action they take, praise it. People will keep coming back for more because praise is a very inexpensive compensation plan. All right, anybody else? Did we miss anybody?
Michael?
Yes.
Oh, I have a request. I took almost 50 pages of notes, and there's a lot of other people who have, Barbara said 68. Is it possible for us to have the rest of this year and maybe even early in the year every Monday to focus on presentation, one release, duplication, leadership, all of these topics, because what we've done is capitalize it, and I think we need to expand it.
Yes,
So
that's the goal.
Oh, is it the goal? Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
every Monday on this call. So the Aligning with Success call will become a platform, an opportunity for us to enrich the discussion. And by the way, since not only are we learning this, we're applying this, because these are action steps. I'm assuming people are taking notes here tonight. Oh yes, Christian. Is Christian on the line? We haven't heard from Christian. So yes, we're going to hear more of this over the weeks to follow. Christian, you there?
I am.
Let's hear about it. What'd you get?
I have 4 interesting points and 3 action steps. So first of all, one thing that I got in there is that I don't have to be perfect, and I know it won't get easier, but it will just I will just get better. So we already said that if we wait until it gets perfect, nothing will get done. So that's the first one. Second one is I already have everything that's needed to reach my goal and succeed. So there was this offer for the accelerator, and I read books and I went to seminars and I read some stuff, but it goes by the next step is only to take action. So I already have everything, and that's the realization I did. Third thing is the world is not going to be is not being served by me playing small. So as you just said, we have to see bigger, faster. And the fourth step, the fourth point is already 1 year ago, you started with a Better Way presentation with a picture. And the picture is this one. Humans being more picture. And I could not really understand what you meant by having a song to sing inside of you. But now I get it. A little bit late, but I get it. So I have a song inside of me that I have to sing, and I have a story to share because I never know how it can impact others. So that gets me to my first action point. My first action step is to get clear and comfortable telling my story both in English and in French. Self-confidence and the language barrier has been something that's been slowing me down. And I realized that so many people on this stage were making mistakes in English, and it was all right. And I see Louis and I see Ruben that English is not their first language, and they're making it happen. So there's absolutely no excuse for me to slow down because of that. So from now on, I'm going to go forward with this. So get clear and comfortable telling my story. Second step is
hang on, Linda Morse, you're cutting in on your.
All right. At the beginning of the call, you mentioned with Ben that you guys are going to hold yourself accountable. So my second step is, as you
We got a frozen, I think we want to hear the rest of this because Christian's on a roll, and I think he's brought some really great points to the thing. By the way, while we're waiting on him to bounce back in, something he mentioned, which I had highlighted just before he mentioned it, was about confidence. Hang on, Christian, hold that thought. Confidence is not something we're born with. We manufacture confidence. So yeah, we all have a starting point, and it's not going to be perfect, and it might even be ugly at first. It doesn't matter. The person you're going to be in the end is the person you're going to be proud of having become because you took the action. Go ahead, Christian.
Yeah, sorry, my internet crashed. Okay, so the second point. Yeah, you said that that you and Ben are going to hold yourself accountable, and you said that there is a greater version of yourself that you're looking forward to meet. And on this day, you are the equal of the ideal person that I'd like to meet myself. So I would like you to be my accountable partner, and I will be willing to accept any challenge that you'll throw at me. No matter how it makes me uncomfortable, because I know that you can lunch people, and I'm willing to do that. And I declare that my Independence Day is going to be on April 30th.
All right. Wow. How can I refuse such an offer?
The third step, the third action step is that I just took it a couple minutes ago. If I go back to last August when I've had my Humans Being More event in Quebec City with Jeff, and there was this day with you on the tomorrow. We've had our diamond seminar in Toronto, and only diamonds and above, not diamonds, only silvers and above could attend to this seminar. And I did not know if I was going to reach silver, but I got my ticket anyway to go to this seminar. That was 400 plus Canadian that I did not really I was not really able to afford it, but I made the decision anyway. So I'm going to get 10 tickets for the next GoPro event, and I will find people to fill those positions, as I know that you're going to give me assignments according to that plan. So I'm going to stretch it a little, and I will find a solution along the way.
Fantastic. Okay, right attitude. That is the right attitude. You brought me to a point. I don't know if we have anybody else who was in attendance at the event. If you were in attendance at the event, please chime in now, because I have one final point that I want to end this call on.
I'd just like to make one thing, Mike.
Hang on. Was there somebody else?
Maria, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Madeline.
You're welcome.
Yes, I would like to say just small things, because I think we've talked about a lot. On one side, social media, that I think it's very, very important. And I know I need help on that. So I already talked to someone, and I have an appointment, because I have to deliver this thing to others, because lately I've been working like so many hours trying to do something in social media, but I know that I need help there. So that's for me an important thing, to leave some things to others and to focus in important things on the side. And something that it was very important for me as well is that Eric Worre talked about the systems. We need systems for everything. And he stated three important things. Everyone has to know that there's a system. Everyone is attached to it. So they go on the system, and finally the system works. And that's something that clicked me, because I know that I have to manage in a good way systems for every different step. So that's it. I will work on that.
Maria, I don't have you on our WhatsApp chat for the GoPro, virtual GoPro. So can you send me a note on my WhatsApp? Do you have me on WhatsApp? And then I'll
Yes,
add you,
yes, yes.
I'll add you to that group. By the way, what she's referring to, Maria, is the systems. He gave us a breakdown of the systems, not all of them, but most of them. Customer acquisition, customer onboarding, distributor acquisition, distributor onboarding, which is essentially the launch. Core rank advancement. In every company and every compensation plan, there's a core rank. Do you suppose we have one? What do you think it is? We all know the answer to that one, silver. Personal development, that's a system. In other words, it's not just something that happens haphazardly, it's something that's programmed. This, by the way, ties into the rhythm of the business. Let's see, I can't even read my own writing. Something training, skill training, there we go, skill training. Again, that's something that I think you're going to see more and more of from NICAN because it's things that they've implemented in Latin America with their quarterlies and their annuals. Communication system. So right now, we don't have the best system, but we have a system of communicating. I pretty much know that the only people I'm really engaged with are the people in the WhatsApp groups. Because email is almost non-existent as a tool anymore. Yeah, to some degree, people are still connected to email, but it's not a real-time, quick time. You don't know who's in the game. And if they're not on the WhatsApp groups, that means they're not really paying attention to the messages that encourage them to get on the WhatsApp groups, because that's where the conversations are happening in real time. So communication system is important. Identify with that, know what it is, plug your people into it. Recognition system. Again, that's something I'm very happy to tell you that NICAN itself acknowledged in the training recently that they were not doing a great job and they're going to get better at it, in North America particularly. And by the way, it's not just on the part of NICAN to do. Most of the recognition I see on my Facebook channels from Latin America are not done by the company, they're done by the upline. So we as upline need to start paying attention to who's advancing in ranks in our downlines, reading our reports. And I know that they really read reports in Latin America. That is part of their daily method of operation, if you will. Reading the reports, looking for who is close to rank advancement and so forth. They really run the business like a business. Those reports are critical, what they call KPIs. And that's something, if you're not doing, get in the habit, even if you have a small team. I know that when I first started in NICAN, which was 19 years ago in a few days, I ran a report every day. And it was a fax back then. You had to wait for the fax machine to print it out. But I ran it every day because I just wanted to see what was going on. And it was really encouraging. And it showed me where I needed to work. Recognition is also a system. Events promotion, big time. Like right now, we're talking about an event that's a year away. Yeah, we should be, because we are talking about the year 2021. And so what we want to do is celebrate 2021 with an event. NICAN has also got an event coming at the end of the week following. So I think this tag team approach of an Eric Worre event, the GoPro event, and the NICAN event is a perfect combination. One, which is specific to our organization and our company, and two, which is industry-wide, so that we do, as what Bennett suggested, we cast a wider net. We open ourselves up to information from what's going on in the industry at large. We want to know. There's advancements that have been made outside of NICAN that we're not even aware of in the industry that we should be aware of if we want to be a world-class organization and be counted among, the top companies. And then finally, in this is a leadership development program, which is not a personal development program. A leadership development program is about leadership. So that, again, ties back to NICAN University, humans being more, and the steps that Jeff is making in helping to create programs specific to that. And it's not limited to NICAN if you're not doing any type of outside of NICAN, but it's a system. So again, it's not NICAN's system, it's your system. If you're $1 million, let's just fast forward the clock for a second. You make $1 million a year in NICAN. The reason you make $1 million a year in NICAN, because you got all this going on. So you've gone from where you are now to somebody who's got all that going on. So that means put that in your roster of things to develop in your know-how, or delegate to help get some help to make that happen. But I think each of us need to see our own self in the role of somebody who's managing these affairs. And yeah, will there be crossover? Will there be opportunities where we work collaboratively together to achieve a particular thing? Yeah, but I don't think that should take away from your roles. I'll give an example of what I'm talking about. In Latin America, the team leader decides when they're going to be a team leader, and they create an icon, a logo for their team. And if you've noticed on the recognition of their teams, there's always an icon somewhere. You know who produced a piece of work, a social media pictograph, or a promotion of somebody's, a recognition of somebody's achievement. You usually see Sakuru or Saki, or just the name of one of the teams who's put that promo out. That means there's somebody who created that team identity. Now, within that team, there's other people who, once they achieve a level of self-acknowledgement as a leader, create their own icon. So there are teams inside of teams inside of teams in Latin America. But what's important is that it's not, everybody doesn't see themselves as just Niken. They see themselves as taking ownership of their own team at some point. First, they're part of a team. Then they're part of a team and start taking ownership of their own team. Then they're part of a team, taking ownership of their own team, and then recognizing team leaders within their teams. So the idea of teams and team identities and creating a sense of responsibility for identifying yourself as a team leader is inherent in the way they do things. It's part of their system, and something I want to encourage you to start thinking about. When will you adopt the role of a team leader? Obviously, you have to have some people on your team, but that's something you should look to. Don't ask the question. I see this a lot. I see questions in the chats. Oh, wouldn't it be nice if this was the case? Well, who are you waiting for to make it the case? That's the statement of somebody who's not taking ownership. If you see a problem, fix it. Leaders are problem solvers. So take the initiative to fix it. Don't throw it out in the atmosphere and say, oh, hope this lands on somebody's shoulders and somebody fixes this problem for me. It's not my problem. It's your problem. You fix it. So take ownership of your business. All right, last thing did we catch everybody? Because I definitely want to end this call. We're going to continue. And if it's not urgent, I don't want to hear it. So let's just, did I miss anybody? Okay.
Just a good
Well,
closing
Mike,
statement.
this is Stan.
Hey, Stan.
You didn't miss me. I didn't chime in. I was on the call. It was a great call. I loved it. My problem, it wasn't a problem, was that I had to break away and go to Ben's call. And that took away a lot of my excitement with that whole weekend. It was just awesome. Like you said, to talk about that $20 million stage. This is what we're going to be doing in the future. It's just nuts. And this Dean guy, what was his name?
Graziosi.
He was, Grazioni or whatever it is. I mean, here's a kid, was stupid when he was a kid, and he took up, he made the decision to follow, who's the guru?
Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins, there you go. And look at what he does today. He's the guy that Larry King interviewed, and he changed his program again. I don't want to talk too much because we're going to go, but I want to put my name down on your list, Mike, because I was there.
Are you in the chat?
No, I'm not. I'm not in the chat.
Okay, Stan, I'm going to include
I'm in
you.
the chat, but I'm not on your list.
No. I want you to be on the virtual GoPro chat, because that way we can have an internal conversation and help move this agenda forward for everybody. But it's interesting you brought something up. And I don't want to miss anybody who was there. If you were there and I haven't heard from you, please chime in. Thank you, Stan. You look great, by the way, Stan. Man, you're going to be one of those guys that we're going to be listening to your story on stage, and you already have such an incredible story.
One of my things is to improve it. That's one of my notes, is to improve it.
Amazing. And so,
and
you
social
will.
media and the decision.
You know how many people, Stan, you're going to attract by just telling your story on social media, just by telling your story. You just got to hire somebody to hold a friggin' camera in front of you and just say, put this on Facebook, do it for me, will you? Get a grandkid or something like that. Just get it done, because that story is so powerful, and you've got a way to communicate and attract an audience of people that will be unique to that. You know, we need to get these stories out. Your story was one of the most
I know.
profound stories I heard when I first got involved in UCAN. So, wow. Yeah, it's
Well,
amazing.
well, you know what, before I let you go, what did he say? He said, that got me, that ding guy. He said, love what you do, love the company, be an antidote to make it better. You know, because you heard in the past, you heard so many complaints about NECAN. You know, that's a
Yeah,
negative.
you've been
I
consistent
don't
at
want to
that.
end on a negative.
But you've been
Thanks, Mike.
consistent at that, Stanley. You've been consistent at that for years. And your story is so powerful.
What was the third thing he said? Love what you do, love the company.
What was number 3, Stan?
Be an antidote to make it better.
Be an antidote to make it better. Wonderful. Maureen, you're unmuted. Is that because you were on the call?
Sorry, I lost the internet connection, so pardon me, I'll mute myself.
Okay. All right. We got to wrap this call
I was
up.
on the call.
Pardon me?
Sorry. My name's Kerry. I was on the call. I
Hey,
don't think
Kerry.
I'm on your chat list either.
You're not, but I want you to be on the list. So please
Okay.
send me a WhatsApp message and I can add you to the list. Go ahead. Sorry, Kerry, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to make sure you knew I was on there. That's all.
Do you have any
The one
points that you wanted to add in
takeaway
terms of
that-
actions?
The takeaway that I got was that, you know, you need your 3 stories to have the same structure: your introduction story, your business opportunity story, and your introduction story. They all have to have the same structure. They should all be within those 3 minutes, and they all should start with the head, go to the heart, and come back to the head. So you want to make that loop come back to bring them
Awesome. You know, if all we did was take that away, if everybody on this call just got one thing out of this call, and it was how to shape your story and tell your story better,
powerful,
then yeah, the impact, because we're storytellers. Essentially, we are professionally paid storytellers, but we think we have to tell this incredible story, and if our story isn't incredible, it's not worth telling. No, what we learned was the more incredible it is, the more incredible it is. So make it credible, which means it has to be real and it has to be yours, and yours is your story and nobody's taking that from you. Wow. Okay. I'm going to wrap up now. Apologies if I didn't get you. It's been already an hour and 40 minutes. It's long enough. Again, we're going to dissect some of this stuff and bring more content to the table regarding this, because this is all relevant. It's all part and parcel of our 2021 plan. And this call will be a really good place for that kind of conversation, because it's totally in alignment with success. The thing that stood out probably the most in the first day for me was decision. Now, you've heard that from me a million different ways and backwards, because, of course, one of my mentors is Bob Proctor. And Bob talks about the fact that until a decision is made, nothing changes, because your frequency doesn't change until you make a decision. You can dream all day long. You can think all these things. And yet, until you make a decision, you haven't actually shifted the frequency. You're just imagining a future in the future. It's not in the present. So it just stays out there as, you know, foreverland, even though it may be something you really want. Until you make the decision to actually have it, to go after it, to bring it into the now, until you make that decision, you don't change your frequency. And if you don't change your frequency, you don't change your exterior. Your circumstances don't change. So circumstances are not what are conditioning you. Your frequency is what's conditioning you. Your circumstances are a consequence of your condition, of your frequency, your state of mind, your state of feeling, thoughts, and actions. So now, if this is the you that you know yourself as now, and this is the you that you know you want to experience yourself as at the conclusion of 2021, clearly there's a gap. We got to go from here to here, which means you've got to grow from here to here in all avenues. Well, how do we bring that gap, close that gap? How do we put 2 points together? The only place you can do it is now. You can't do it in time. It's only now. So how do we close the gap? How do we bring the future self into the present moment? We have to start acting, thinking, and being the person that we wish to experience ourselves as now. We bring the future into the present. And so I'm going to really, really emphasize a book. Now, This is a book that I think is probably the most important book I've read in my entire life. Power of Awareness. It's by Neville Goddard, because it's a tool. It takes scripture and puts it into an applicable tool. It's applicable. Each chapter is like 3 pages, so it's a no-brainer in terms of being able to stay focused for 5 minutes. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because it's constantly reminding us of the same thing, the power of awareness. What you bring your awareness to is what you begin to attract and manifest into your life. So if you're bringing the present, which is based on all the past, who you are today is based on who you've been thinking about until today. If you're bringing your awareness to this person, then this is the only person you're going to experience. You've got to bring your awareness to this person. What does it mean to bring my awareness to that? I need to be able to put myself in the shoes of this individual. And what's so brilliant about humankind is we have a gift, the gift that makes us in the likeness and image of the Creator. Imagination. We can actually imagine it. And the more vividly you can imagine that moment in time. I don't know how many times these guys were saying that, they had their vision board, they had their dream house, but they had it first here. They have it first in their mind. That $20 million studio only 2 months ago was an idea in somebody's mind. Until they committed to the idea, September 15th, they pushed the button and said, we're doing this. It was just an idea. And it was only going to stay an idea. But until they made the decision to actually get it done, as Sylvester Stallone would say, get it done. Get it done. So make the decision to get it done. And something that came up by Worry was, there's only one place in the compensation plan. There's only one. You guys think there's a bunch of them. There's only one. It's Royal Diamond. That's the only place in the compensation plan. Everything until that are just milestones. They're achievements, they're goals that we set in the road to the achievement of our end in mind, which is Royal Diamond. Why would you ever set your eyes on anything else? And the beautiful thing about any of this, whether it's silver, gold, platinum, diamond, or Royal Diamond, you don't know how you're going to get there, regardless of which they are. So if you don't know how you're going to get to any one of these things, but you're going to get there because you've made a decision and commitment to get there, that means you will attract all the elements. Why then set the course for silver or gold or platinum or diamond? Why would you waste any time? Because once you get to where you're getting to, you're going to realize you could have gotten further had you made that your destiny. And now you have to start from where you are to get there. It's like another journey. Why don't you just set the course once, put it in the GPS, Royal Diamond, and now everything from now until then are just decisions, many decisions that are either in alignment or out of alignment with that destination. You measure everything against that. Do I buy an Eric Worre ticket? Do I buy more than one? I don't know. Let's ask my future self. Okay, Royal Diamond future self, what should I have done? I'm supposed to be bigger, faster, sooner. What is it that I should be doing? You be me for a second. Step into my shoes, future self. Tell me what you know now I should be doing. Man, can you imagine if you had a conversation with yourself every day? Guess what? That person's available 24/7. So remind yourself, I have something in my mirror. It's in my mirror. If I go right now and show you my mirror, you're going to see what's in my mirror. It's a paycheck. It has Tom Watanabe's signature on it. Okay? I see that every single day. It's note to self. Self, who I know myself to be. Reminding myself who's pretending to be this guy right now. This is not who you are. This is who you're pretending to be. This is who you really are becoming, expect to be. So bring that person in the present. It's a reminder. Why? Because it's too easy to be distracted. Way too easy to be taken off course. And the only person who sees you for who you are is you, nobody else. Unless you're surrounded by people who really see that. So the news, turn it off. Surround yourself with people who support the vision of you, future you. Surround yourself with people who support that vision and cut off conversations that do not serve that end. Don't entertain conversations. Don't engage in conversations that are designed to take you down. You don't have time for that. It's a violation of your sovereignty, your royalty. So be the royal diamond now. Act like the royal diamond now. You'll attract the people because you are intense. A royal diamond is, think about it, step into it. Imagine it. What would it be like to wake up as a royal diamond in the morning, getting out of bed, having achieved the end in mind? What would it be like? That's the thing that sets everything apart. It starts in our mind, and that's where we have to begin, with the end in mind, and then we fill in the blanks. We take the actions. We trip over ourselves. We get up because we know it's not the end. We know what the end is, and we keep going, we keep going. In the words of Stallone, you know, uncomfortable, constantly pushing forward with daily commitment to the daily activity, perseverance. Be a specialist in one thing. So I want to thank everybody who's contributed to this call. I welcome you to come back next week and maybe pick one of the things that you want to expand on and maybe take 5 minutes. We can get 5 minutes of more expanded on an idea. And it doesn't matter if you pick the same thing as I do or anybody else does, because we each have our own point of view about it. And we want to give this, these details with real clarity and vision and richness. So again, thanks everybody for joining, taking the time.
Can I give a closing statement from Lisa Nichols?
Sure.
Something that really impacted me, and it's been on my mind since. She said, everyone should think, I am the lighthouse, always lit, and I have become a beacon for others.
So there you go. What does a lighthouse look like? Be that lighthouse. You know, what else are you going to be? You're being something, might as well be the best you can be. And you know what you should be. You know what you can be. So turn the knowing into the being. Wow. I can't wait for this conversation in 2021, December 2021, after the NICAN conference. It's going to be amazing. How many of you are going to have rank advanced, and to what degree, and how many people you're going to have introduced us to and have become part of these calls. These calls, the numbers of these calls should be expanding. We know we're on the right track if we have a growing audience. So,
and breakout rooms.
And we can do that too. All right. Thanks everybody for joining us. And we'll see you again next week. Have a great, great week.